Egypt's first fully preserved funeral home has been discovered in the City of the Dead. The funerary complex is complete with a mummification workshop featuring natural ventilation. The July 2018 archaeologists unearthed a sprawling ancient Egyptian funeral home beneath the Sahara Desert. The trove of discoveries pointed towards a substantially big funeral industry of ancient Egypt. It's since allowed researchers to document evidence of this business for the first time. According to National Geographic, the discovery of this necropolis sent shockwaves through the archaeological community and shifted the focus from royal, pharaoh-centric tombs research to the more plebeian, in other words, the everyday people, yielding new information about the day-to-day business of, funeral homes. Now, the artifacts revealed a whole roster of options for those anticipating their journey into the afterlife, from gold foil and white plaster burial masks to the costly gold and silver ones, or affordable painted clay jars to store one's innards to expensive Egyptian alabaster jars. The customer was always right. He chose whatever he wanted. The evidence we uncovered shows the embalmers had very good business sense, said Ramadan Hussein, an Egyptologist at the University of Tübingen in Germany. He said they were very smart about providing alternatives. Saqqara sits on the banks of the Nile River, around 20 miles south of Cairo. It's believed mummification workshops like the one found under its sands have likely been overlooked for generations in favor of the royal tombs waiting to be dug up below. For Hussein, who started his work at Saqqara in 2016, the results of this year's long efforts have been nothing short of remarkable. His focus was on tombs dating 600 BC that were largely ignored by his peers and hidden deep underground. It was while examining an area last probed in the 1800s that Hussein and his team found a shaft that was carved into the bedrock, filled with debris and sand. The resourceful Egyptologist had an inkling something was waiting below. Little did he know he'd found a mummification workshop for the working man. He said, "We've been reading about this in the ancient texts, but now we can really contextualize the business of death." The excavation took months and the removal of 42 tons of fill, but ended in the discovery of a 40-foot shaft and large chamber with high ceilings. Thousands of pottery fragments, shallow channels cut into the bedrock, and a table-like area were found. The network of passages provided a cool breeze. Hussein quickly found that it was not a typical tomb, but a workshop to mummify people, designed with drainage channels, natural ventilation, and an industrial-strength incense burner to ward off the animals. He said, "If you're doing evisceration down there, you need air moving in to get rid of insects." He said, "You want constant movement of air when you're dealing with cadavers." The pottery fragments, which were carefully documented and conserved, only further clarified the purpose of this place. Hussein explains every single cup or bowl has the name of the substance in it and the days of the embalming procedure it was used. Instructions are written directly on the objects. Hussein says that we can talk about the archaeology of embalming purportedly for the first time. There's no shortage of ancient texts or artistic depictions of embalming, but archaeological evidence has been rather rare. He says very few workshops devoted to the process have been properly excavated. This is what Dietrich Rau, curator of the University of Leipzig Egyptian Museum, says. He says this leads to a big gap in our knowledge. It's common knowledge the ancient Egyptians believed the body had to remain intact so the soul could venture properly into the afterlife. However, this highly organized ritual took a shocking 70 days, replete with rites and prayers on each of them. After the internal organs were removed and placed into canopic jars, the corpse was dried with salt such as natron. The dead were then covered in fragrant oils and wrapped in linen before amulets and spells were tucked between the folds. And lastly, any cherished personal items furnished the tomb. Hussein said it was a huge industry. This is what he said, with discount packages available to suit every budget. From evisceration of the bodies to burials and maintenance of the deceased souls, this ancient undertaker business was vertically integrated and offered customers the whole experience. Hussein and his team discovered a second shaft leading to another room housing 6 tombs and 50 mummies. One held a woman in a limestone sarcophagus weighing over 7 tons. Another held a woman whose face was covered with a gold and silver burial mask, the first one found in Egypt in over 100 years. The complex of tombs has also held more humble, working-class individuals in wooden coffins. And Hussein posits the embalmers accepted either money or parcels of land for their work. They would first pack the bodies in the burial shaft, then collect their fee, and continue their agreed-upon services. Ultimately, this is the first time that archaeological evidence definitively confirms what has only been theory based on inscriptions and ancient legal documents. On top of that, it's a welcome pivot from focusing only on the fanciest, most royal tombs to how the ancient Egyptian masses interacted with their dead. Rao said, Ramadan is getting a lot of information that was simply lost in the past. There was a whole infrastructure above ground that was simply removed without documentation. This article was originally for All That Interesting, published here under Creative Commons on Collective Spark by Steve McCambly. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.